I ain't gonna get too many amens on this one. Uh. Yeah. That's right.
Yep. Come on with it.
Yeah.
Little big bro. Little sis.
Let's go.
You already know, man, whenever you hear some special introductory music, there's going to be a little something for out there, a special treat for you guys. Willie Epteen Jr. Man, this is the Ballers Report podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about some football, but man, I am so very happy and privileged and proud to have this couple on the show. They are so amazing, simply sensational. Any superlative that you can throw out there that is of description of just stomping with the big dogs, like Martin said. This is what this couple is doing. And of course, that music was Church Folk by Landa and Morgan. And I got him and his lovely wife, my sissy from another Missy, on backstage, Rotunda Morgan. We're going to bring them in here in just a second. But before we do that, you already know what we got to do. You already know what it is. So let's go get it. Come on.
Right about now, you're about to be possessed by the sounds.
Yeah, I know what it is. You little suckers get to talking, grabbing out walking, strapped to the pong, getting jaws and smacking, they sleep with the coffins. And they getting greedy like saying, give me all this.
Yes, sorry, buddy. You already know what it is when you hear that music. It is another edition of the Ballers Report podcast. As I said in the intro, Landa and Rotunda Morgan, we got to get them in here and we got to get them out because they have their own project coming at the top of the hour. So let's go ahead and bring them in, the brother and the sis. There they are.
What's going on, Chief? What's happening, brother?
How y'all doing, man? What's good?
We blessed, bro. We good, man.
Yes.
It's good to be on.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother.
Well, I have been wanting to get you guys on for a while. I think you guys might have been trying to avoid me because I know that the Cowboys did lose to the Raiders last year.
Oh, man. He getting started already.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that I'm hoping that had something to do with it and not really just the fact that, we fell off and, we don't see each other much anymore. I'm hoping it's because of the Cowboys lost to the Raiders and not anything personal otherwise. Can y'all confirm?
I know both of us, man, we're moving and shaking, so that's good. But I can't put it on my Cowboys, man, losing to your Raiders, man. I can't even do that. There's a whole lot more going on than just that. So
Oh, okay. Well, good. That actually makes me feel pretty good. So we're going to get into everything that we talked about off air and in the pre-production and all that in the coming days leading up to this. But I do want to get your take on your Cowboys at this point. And, there's a lot of things that have happened in the last couple of days. I actually heard Jerry Jones today talk about how Dak is going to be coming back sooner than later. They will not be putting him on IR. He's got a fractured thumb. He's going to have to get some hardware in it. That game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, what were y'all's thoughts about that?
Man, every year is huge expectations as a Cowboys fan, right?
Yes.
And it's just how, they kind of pump us up every year that, this is going to be the year. So I have to admit, we Cowboys fans, we go into it, with these big dreams, be in fairy tale land. And man, just watching that game, bro, I can't describe to you how gut-wrenching that was, man. Our whole day, man, from going to church, the sermons was good. We had a good, dinner after church, and then we get home, we ready for the game, we ready to see Dak do his thing. And bro, this is what they give us, man. So it's just like year after year after year, it's like, come on, man. And there was some statistic, bro, that said we haven't won a season opener since the New York Giants game in like 1998.
Really?
I was hearing it on a station not too long ago. They were saying my boys have not won a season opener since like 98 against the New York Giants. Bro,
Well, I'm gonna give you another statistic that you're not gonna like.
okay.
Are you ready for it? Let me ask y'all this first of all. And this is funny to me because we've gone back and forth on Facebook so many times, and now I got you in the studio. So and this just happened this week. So let me ask you a couple questions. First of all, how many teams are there in the NFL total?
32.
Okay. How many games were played in week 1?
It should have been
16.
16, all teams, yeah.
Yeah, so 16 games were played. There's 32 teams in the NFL.
Right.
Only one game and only one team out of all that happened in week 1 did not score a touchdown. Can you guess what team that was?
The Raiders?
The Raiders. I know it's us. We got our little 3 points. But here's the thing, man. Here's what that. We didn't commit to the run like we should have.
Mm-hmm.
We started out running, but then we started seeing dink and dunk Dak. And
the offensive line is trash.
Yeah, we banged up. So,
and we've gotten rid of some guys that we were hoping that, had another year, a couple of years with us, and that really affected, I believe, our offensive line.
Amari should have been a lifer, though.
Yeah.
Amari should have been a Cowboy for life.
Yeah, he should have been. Period. Yeah, he should have.
Okay.
But let me ask this. What's the obsession with everybody with us Cowboys?
Yeah, like
the Cowboys. It's like everybody hates us, but you love us.
Right.
I mean, you have to admit it.
Could it be that y'all like underground Cowboys fans, like
Stephen A?
You know what?
I hope he sees this, Stephen A.
You know what? I've been on Stephen A's show a couple times.
Yep.
Wow.
As a call-in guest.
Okay.
And I actually had a dream about Stephen A. that they were here in Dallas. I was out there wherever they were, and I asked a question like I normally do, and then afterwards, he gave me his card and said, call this person. This person's my assistant. We're gonna make sure that we get you on here. That was a dream that happened like a couple years ago. But be that as it may, I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna answer your question with a lot of vigor, and I'm gonna answer your question with a lot of emphasis. Nobody wants to be a Cowboy fan.
Oh, that's not true.
Whoa, bro.
Hold up.
Bro.
Hold on a second. Hold on. The Cowboy fans that are not Cowboy fans like me do not want to be Cowboy fans. And the reason why that is because it's not the team. It's y'all.
Oh, whoa.
It's y'all.
Okay, hold on. Okay. So my wife and I. Hold on, I gotta go there. So
keep it holy. Keep it holy.
Oh, we don't keep it holy, bro. Always that, bro. Okay, so last year we're on a trip in Nigeria, bro. Nigeria, Africa.
Right.
Okay, we're in the sticks. Like we fly into the major city, Abuja.
Right.
From there, we go into the sticks, like into the countryside of Abuja. Right. Real country. I walk out the house that we're staying in,
mm-hmm.
right? With some extended family. I walk out the house, literally, I make a left turn. I got the pictures to prove it, bro. The brother had on a number 4 Dak Prescott Dallas Cowboy jersey in the middle of Nigeria, Africa.
And we were really
I kid you not, bro. Everywhere we go, we hear about the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. We went to Tokyo back in 2015. What are we hearing about? Dallas Cowboys. You can go anywhere on this planet and you can say Dallas Cowboys. They don't know the Raiders because y'all switch teams, y'all switch cities every 2 years. They don't know the Raiders. They don't know about y'all's 3 rings back in the 80s, no, whatever that was. They don't know about y'all's 3 rings. Y'all have no legacy. Y'all have no dynasty. Bro, they know the Dallas Cowboys. Is fans everywhere, fans that don't speak English. Look at our Hispanic fan base. Our Latino fan base is dominant everywhere you go. So to say that people don't want to be Cowboys fans because it's the Cowboys fans, now I admit, Willie, we got some rambunctious fans that just pop off at the mouth. They don't know nothing about the game. They don't know anything about the organization. They don't know nothing about football. I get that. But every team has that. Every team has fans like that. So when it comes to us as diehard fans, I mean, we live, we breathe this, man. It's Cowboy Nation all day, every day.
Well, I mean, for me, I've been a Cowboys fan since Roger Staubach. I mean, I've been a Cowboys fan since the 80s. I mean, in high school. So, I mean, that's who I always loved, my family loved. And so, I mean, I kind of, grew up with them. So I'm not just someone that just came in and, okay, I want to be a Cowboys fan.
Right.
I've been one all my life.
Born and bred, baby. Born
True.
and bred.
You know what? I can respect that.
Yeah.
And when I say, because what you described in Nigeria and what you described in Tokyo, that's real talk. I understand that. They are, the Cowboys brand is all of that. They're worth like 2 gazillion. They're worth so much. They're worth so much the dollar amount has not even been invented yet. So we understand how real that is.
Right.
But that's just that. In real talk, that is really truly in my opinion, because there are a lot of players on that team that I actually like. I mean, right. I like Dak. I mean, I like CD to a degree. I like Gallup to a degree. I like Micah Parsons, but other than that, it's kind of hard to get past some of the fandom. Now, I ain't gonna say all of the fandom, but some of the fandom makes it a little hard to get past. And you're right, there are teams out there that have fans that are like that. And even if teams like the teams of my team or fans of my team, I'm in this group on Facebook and they just trashing Derek Carr. And I'm like, y'all just need to chill out for a second. There are a lot of good things that happen in this game against the Chargers. Number one, they got one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and he's going to be that dude. So just relax. We beat this team last year with everything that we had going on, and it's going to be all right. So let's get off the NFL and let's get to the Morgans. So talk about the podcast and give shout out the name of it. And I'm really interested from both you guys where the vision came from and what ultimately was the thing that said, you know what, let's go ahead and do this.
Well, it had been in the plans for a while, actually for a couple of years. And to be quite honest, I was putting the brakes on it. Mainly because I'll be honest with you, I didn't have the confidence to get in front of camera. And so it was kind of like God had been speaking to me, it's time to get back out there. It's time to build up your confidence and put this out there. And my wife and I, we would go live occasionally, like on Facebook and so forth. And the engagement and the reception that we would get would be awesome. People would be engaged. They would be interested in what we were saying. And we would talk about, just literally anything, faith, societal issues, just, anything that's going on in the world. We would talk about it and people would jump on. And we always try to infuse humor. We always try to infuse, of course, the seriousness of things that's going on, but also the brighter side of things. And so I think once I got the confidence this year to really just, say, hey, babe, let's go ahead and do it. And let's go ahead and launch this thing. And it took us forever to kind of come up with a name for it. But we wanted to do something where we wanted to show people and tell people it's time to start living. Because a lot of people just have checked out on life right now. Like our last week's show, we were dealing with issues of suicide and mental illness. And so right now with the pandemic still going on and inflation and all these things that are going on in society, people have kind of checked out. If they haven't checked out physically by hurting themselves, they've checked out mentally. And so we wanted to, with this show, that's why we called it Living More with the Morgans. So we can start living, so that we can start loving, so that we can get back to the foundation of loving and living life. And one of the things my wife and I, we totally love to do is travel. And we like to travel internationally. And the reason why is because that gets us out of our comfort zone. We're forced to have to learn a new language. We're forced to, see how other cultures are interact and how they engage. And that puts us and immerses us inside of that. And so we wanted to bring this kind of podcast to let people know that there's much more for you to do. Life isn't over. Just because things are hard right now, there's a storm going on right now. There's something on the other side of that storm. And so that was really the brainchild behind Living More with the Morgans.
And also, like he had mentioned, he was really stalling, because he didn't say this, but I was the one that kept saying, babe, we need to do this. We need to push this. And just like Landa said, people are not living with the pandemic and things that has happened with that, where we are fighting something that we can't see, we can't touch, we can't smell. And people don't understand that, God wants us to live. He said, I want you to have life and life more abundantly, not to just live and exist and, I'm getting by, or okay, everything's okay for right now. But God said, I want you to live. And how do we do that? We do that by, we believe, this is our belief, is by allowing God to show us and to be in us, so that we could live the life that he wants us to live. There's so much to see. We want people to get out of their comfort zone. Just like Landa said, we go to other countries. We've been roughly to almost 22 countries. And we go, we learn the language, we meet the most extraordinary people. And God has just used us so mightily in that. So we begin to see that sometimes when we go somewhere, it's really just us. And we're like, why is it just you and I? And we don't see us, African Americans, people of color. And so we began to think, we were brainstorming, we were actually talking, and we were like, babe, people are not living. People are afraid of airplanes. People are afraid of trains. People are afraid to do things that are outside of their comfort zone. God can't use us if we stay in the box. He wants us to get outside of that and meet new people. You don't know what they have for you, and you have for them. So that's why Living More with the Morgans was birthed.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And this is a prophecy that is being fulfilled because of 2014 at the Antioch Christian Church awards or membership, whatever they called it, gala. Yeah. You were awarded the World Changer award, or whatever you want to call it. And here we are, almost 8 years later, and really before that, because it's not like you just now are doing it, because you've been doing it for a while. You have stepped so much into that purpose that your feet are now stuck. I don't mean that you're stuck in the mud, like you can't move forward, but that's how deeply entrenched you are into this calling and into this purpose. Right. And as a person that's on the outside looking in, I'm very, very proud of both of y'all for what y'all have done and what y'all are continuing to do. But more importantly, what y'all are going to do.
Thank you.
So, sis, when you said, because I wanted to come back to that when Landa said that he was stalling, he didn't have the confidence, which, you know what, I feel you, brother. People think that we have it all, we got it all together, and we just don't. That's just what it is. So, sis, what did you say to him to actually push that confidence level up to the point to where it needed to be in order to get this launched?
I initially said, you have what it takes. God is giving you, you can't, and one thing that we believe in, and this is something that we talk about, I refuse to leave this earth and I didn't fulfill the assignment that God had for me to fulfill. And I mentioned that to Landa. I said, people look at us and think, oh gosh, you guys got all these things going on. Much given, much required. These are not the things that we just want to do. God has said to us, have told us in talking to us in the middle of the night or sometimes in wherever, saying it's time. I can't use you if you don't push past your fears, push past your the way you look on camera, push past all of the negative things that you feed yourself and you tell yourself. We have to push past that. And until we do, we're going to always see the same thing every year. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to be different. Is it scary at times? Yes. But if it was about you, it wouldn't be scary.
I think what comes to mind, Willie, is that the passage of scripture where it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Right. And you have to have the right things around you in order for your mind to be renewed.
And the right people.
And the right people. And so if you're around people that are complacent with life, if you're around people who, man, if I were you, I wouldn't do that. Well, you're not me. And that's why you're not doing it and you haven't done it. And so with my wife, she was able to really, like she said, really just hone in on, babe, you got it. You have what it takes, and society, life, everything kind of tries to beat that out of you, especially us as men. And so she was very, insistent and persistent in really telling me, babe, you have what it takes. God has given you what you need. You don't need this. You don't need that. You have everything that you need. And once I came to that realization that, okay, I can do this, or, and I was honest in the show, Willie, I was a certain size years ago, and I had picked up weight stuff during the pandemic. My father had passed, and so depression and stuff put on weight. And so I didn't want to be in front of the camera, honestly. And because I knew how people had always seen me in the past. Mm-hmm. And so once I got past that and past thinking of what other people think about me, because that was stalling me. That was stunning my growth. That was playing with my money. There's endeavors that I could have been involved in that I didn't involve myself in because of how I looked at myself or thinking how other people were looking at me.
And our marriage.
And
it was really hurting us in our marriage.
Right.
Because my husband was looking at himself as, in the Bible, they talk about, we look like grasshoppers to them. He was looking at himself as that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, you think he's multi-talented. He's a guru. He's very intelligent. And you would think, okay, he wouldn't have these issues. But the greatest of people that God has created have those issues. Right. So I wanted to tell him and to show him that you have it. Stop looking at your size. Stop looking at the things. If you're going to look more at it in the sense of it's about you, then you don't have it. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it in God's eyes, see, God says, I didn't make any junk. So if you look at it in his eyes, then you will see what he sees. And he sees someone that is well able, who's capable, who has what it takes, who's my son. That's what I wanted him to see.
And you know what? I was thinking that when you said the scripture reference about the grasshoppers, as he was talking about that immediately came into my spirit, because that's just the way that the spirit intertwines us together whenever we're doing things for him. And one thing that I heard the word of the Lord from the other day, we do things for his glory, but we get the benefits, but we have to make sure that we're doing it for his glory and not just for the benefits.
Right. Absolutely.
I gotta shout this out because I didn't do it. Thank you guys out there, of course, for checking us out on Facebook Live through the Shakeback Media Group Facebook page, as well as YouTube Live through the Shakeback Media YouTube channel, as well as Twitter, Shakeback Media Group on Twitter. Make sure you go and follow us there. Thank you for the almost 6,700 followers that are tuning in. We appreciate that. And we're talking to the Morgans as we're living more with the Morgans. So as we get about 2.5 minutes left to go before I let y'all get out of here, and I hate to rush this, but I want to be respectful of y'all's time. All that means is that I got to have y'all back on at a better time.
We would love to.
Yeah, for that's better for both of us. We can go more in depth in this. So before we actually get into how the podcast can be heard, where it can be heard, what time it comes on, and all that, what's next for you guys? Because I know when we were texting back and forth trying to get this scheduled, there was something about possibly being out of the country. So what's next?
Actually, we were looking to travel to Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. We have an orphanage out there that we support. It's called the Brenda Ellis Children's Home in Bungoma, Kenya. And we were actually supposed to fly out on Sunday, but we had some difficulties with some things. And so hopefully here pretty soon we'll be able to get out there and see the kids. And so it's 145 orphan children. They've been orphaned, the parents having AIDS and being displaced and so forth throughout the country, actually. And so they ended up in this orphanage, and we support them, and not just financially, but, we're like the auntie and uncle to these kids. And so, we had an opportunity to go see them this month, but unfortunately some things didn't pan out the way we had hoped. But God is good, and we'll definitely get a chance to do that here soon. And then we've got some business endeavors going on. We just launched a company, an electronic motorized motor company in Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria, called Quick. And so we just launched that back in November of last year, and so we're excited about that. And so hopefully we'll be heading out to Nigeria here pretty soon, and doing the first inaugural drive, and getting our customer base excited about it.
Awesome. Well, I have two things to say. Number one, or actually like three things to say. Number one, thank you guys for coming on. I'm very, very proud of you guys for everything that I've seen, and more importantly, the things that I haven't seen yet. Number two, remember this, that the destiny that awaits us will require us to be become comfortable with the uncomfortable while we thrive in the unfamiliar. I need you guys to get that in your spirit. And then number three, can I go sometime with you guys? I can fit into it.
Yes.
Absolutely, brother.
You and your wife.
Yeah, y'all come on through, man. We ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
We ready. We will make it happen.
Yes.
We will make it happen.
We would love that.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let's give everybody what they want. How can the podcast be heard, listened to, viewed, what times, dates, the whole nine?
Right. And so we're live on Tuesday nights, actually tonight at 8:00 p.m. Central Time, 9:00 Eastern. And you can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/Living More Morgans. You can simply search on Facebook with Living More with the Morgans. We're also on Twitter at Live More Morgans. And then also you can check us out live on YouTube. And so our YouTube channel is brand new. You guys can definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Simply in the search, type in Living More with the Morgans. Again, on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit us up. The website will be coming soon, but you can check us out tonight after your broadcast, of course, on Twitter and on Facebook, Living More with the Morgans.
Yes, and I will go out there whenever I finish this show and subscribe and follow you guys at all those platforms.
Yes, sir.
And then I will, of course, once I get this edited, I will pin this to the top of my page. I got 6,700 followers almost, and I will have them retweeted. So everybody could use a little encouragement and a lot of love. So I appreciate that. Before we get out of here, I got to give you guys this. And again, we thank you guys for coming on the show. We'll be tuning in at 8:00 here at the top of the hour. And y'all be blessed, and we'll talk to y'all again real soon.
Thank you, sir. Go Cowboys.
So Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, talk to y'all later. Y'all be good.
All right.
All right, bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there they go. That's the Morgans. That's Landa and Rotunda Morgan, Living More with the Morgans. They have a broadcast that's coming up at the top of the hour. I encourage you to go out there and check it out. They are talking about encouragement. They're talking about love. Everything that we here at the Shakeback Media Group agree and touch with, and our prayers and thoughts continue to go out to them as they walk into the purpose that God has set forth for them, and they are included in any prayer that includes touching people in generations that have yet to come. So that's what that is. With that, appreciate them coming on. We will have them back on. We were limited on time. But we will have them back on probably a day other than Tuesday. We'll have to just make it fit for our schedules and go from there. Okay, let's get into some NFL real quick. We talked about it a little bit with Landa in the first, right there in the first part of the show. He talked about the Cowboys, talked about the Raiders, talked about the fans or whatnot. But I'm only gonna be on here for another few minutes. But I wanted to talk about how Saquon Barkley, running back from the New York Giants, has said, "Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some in it," because what he did to the Tennessee Titans, that's the Saquon Barkley that was at Penn State. That's the Saquon Barkley that was drafted number 2 overall by the New York Giants a few years ago. That's the same Saquon Barkley, uninjured, that we thought that he would be. Now, I know it's only game 1, but this dude ran for over 160 yards and scored the 2-point conversion really all on his own, because if you saw the play was stopped. I mean, Tennessee, they executed their defense to perfection. But Saquon Barkley and those tree trunk legs of his just kept churning and driving, and he got it into the end zone. And the Giants walk away with with a 1-point win after getting the 2-point conversion. And what can you say about Brian Daboll, head coach from the Giants? Brand new there, first game as a head coach, came over from the Buffalo Bills as the O coordinator there. And it doesn't look like the Bills are missing a beat, to be honest with you. But that's another subject for another time. But yeah, I love and I think, look, you could talk about the Giants and the Lions all you want to. I think they are going to be a pleasant surprise to a lot of people. Now, the Detroit Lions, they kind of got down to the Philadelphia Eagles at home on Sunday, but I like the way that they fought back. I like the way that they had their spunk, and their coach, Dan Campbell, he's got something going up there. And to me, it just seems like they're just missing a couple pieces maybe on defense. Jeff Okudah is back. Shout out to South Grand Prairie High School. He's back on one side of the field at cornerback. Maybe if they can get another stopper or at least a semi-stopper like himself, that'll help out as well. Okay, and then let's talk about the AFC South, because there are 4 teams in the AFC South. There's Indianapolis, there's Tennessee, there's Jacksonville, and then there's Houston. Those 4 teams have a combined win total the same amount of wins that I have in my NFL professional coaching career. 0, ladies and gentlemen. The Texans and the Colts tied. The Colts actually cut their kicker on today because he couldn't get it done. The Jaguars lost to who? They lost to the Commanders after having a lead. They're going to surprise some people too, but not this year. Doug Peterson is there. Shout out to ULM. What up, though? He's there. He's got a generational talent at quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and he's going to get that thing rolling in the right direction pretty soon. They lost to the Commanders after Carson Wentz actually had a very good game and brought those guys back. And then, of course, the Tennessee Titans lost to the New York Giants, who we just talked about. Let's go out west to the AFC West, because the Kansas City Chiefs, I hate them. Stand by. Stay tuned for a show divided with Tisha C and myself. She being a Chiefs fan, me being a Raider fan. That is coming out really, really soon. I want to say we're going to get into it next week, but we will see. The Chiefs just go down to Glendale, Arizona. They're trying to make the case as being, they will probably be the first team in history to play the first game of the season and the last game of the season in the same exact venue, because Glendale, Arizona, State Farm Stadium is the home of Super Bowl 6003 or whatever number it is. That's what that is. But what they did to the Cardinals was just, I know the Cardinals are like, yo, can we get the license plate number of that truck? Yeah, the name of it, it's a personalized plates. It's got Mahomes on the front of it. Mahomes, because he Mahomie jaw. And look, I know it's the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are missing some pieces, but I don't like the Chiefs. I actually hate the Chiefs, but it's hard to hate that team when one of their most nauseating players is not even there anymore. And they just continue to just retool and reload. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster. Look, I said this, I have been saying it for the longest. Outside of Tyreek Hill, their receiving core was average at best. Well, they got some pretty good ones there. So we'll see. I know it's the Cardinals, but we shall see. Let's go to the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers and Justin Herbert, talked about it a little bit with Landa. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in my opinion, hands down. No question about it. There's not a thing on the field that dude cannot do. He can throw the ball from one end zone to the other. He can run over you. He can run by you. He can run away from you. Now, Keenan Allen is going to be out for a few weeks with the hamstring. I think that's going to give more time for Jalen Guyton. What up, Brandy? That's going to give more time for them to get that running game going with Joshua Kelly and Austin Eckler. I need Eckler to perform, except against the Raiders, because he's on my fantasy team. I think that defense with Khalil Mack, that dude got 3 sacks on Derek Carr. Remember, him and Derek Carr were drafted in the same draft by the Raiders. And now Khalil Mack, you can say what you will about him being in Chicago. I think, look, he's resurrected himself. Will we get this Khalil Mack every game? I don't know. I can't say, because you know how it is with the great ones. As they process or proceed in age, they give you flashes of the dominance that they once were. They can't give it to you, all 16 games or all 82 games or 160 games or 150 games out of a baseball season or 75 games out of a hockey season. But what they can do is they can affect the game in matters in which it need to be affected the most at the most opportune time. And the Raiders, look, you can say whatever. Raider fans, I need y'all to get on board with me real quick, man. And speaking of Raiders, the Commitment to Excellence podcast is coming out this Friday with myself and Spotlight. I'm not going to give y'all his government name. That's not my business to do that. He can do that should he choose to do so. So we will be doing that on Friday for all the dopest Raider content on the web all season long. So let me get you Raider fans on board with me that's ready to kick over the ship and jump off. There were a lot of great things that occurred in this game, guys. There were a lot of great things. There's some things that need to be worked on, but there were a lot of great things. Number one, I love the way that Devontae Adams just is always open. Number two, they had to have been doubling Renfrow and Waller throughout various parts of the game. And then again, the kid from the Chargers, I can't remember his name, but he went head up against Renfrow and he held his own. That's not going to happen every game. That's not going to happen in every game. Waller, he came alive a little bit the second half, but you're not going to be able to stop all three of those dudes every game all the time. And then number three, I like the way that we showed that we could run the ball. Now, I understand that it's the Chargers, and they were one of the worst teams against the run last year, but their defense has improved. They got Derwin James back there. They got Keith Murray, not the most beautifulest thing in the world, Keith Murray, but Keith Murray who can run sideline to sideline. Of course, Mack is up front. They have Joey Bosa on one side. So they have a lot of great players. They invested a lot of money. I think it's like $115 million in guaranteed dollars on that side. And they did play this game without their probably one of the top three cornerbacks in the NFL, in Jackson, who they got over in free agency from the New England Patriots. But in terms of what the Raiders did, I like the fact that we were able to run the ball. Okay. And the offensive line held up better than I thought they did, even though they gave up 3 sacks. And I think a lot of those sacks that those sacks that they gave up to Khalil Mack, I want to say 2 of them were cover sacks. And on that sack, the last play the last possession of the game for us, when Derek Carr fumbled, that was a coverage sack. I mean, that was a coverage sack. So I like what I saw. And then the Raiders was able to actually stop the run, to a degree. Now, the passing game, you know what? The defense, the secondary, look, you're going against Justin Herbert and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and those dudes. You're going to give up yards, dude. That's just what that is. But even after all of that, the Raiders were down 24-19 with the ball and a chance to go down and score and win the game. As bad as they played, as bad as my team looked against the Chargers, we still had a great opportunity to win that game. So I was happy about that. One other thing too about week 1. Wow. What can you say about the Cincinnati Bengals? Joe Burrow throws 4 interceptions. And again, this is this team right here. We saw it last year. How do you give up 9 sacks to one team and still go to the Super Bowl? Well, Joe Burrow threw 4 picks, and they still should have won the game. But for their kicker, well, it wasn't the kicker's fault. It was the long snapper's fault because they had to replace him because their other long snapper had gotten hurt. But for that, they still should have won that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But there are no moral victories in the NFL, and that's just what that is. And speaking of that being what that is, guess what? the end of the show. The Ballers Report podcast right here, powered by, I almost said the Shake Back Media Group. It is powered by the Shake Back Media Group. We thank you guys out there for checking us out on Facebook Live as well as YouTube and Twitter. Thank you guys out there for rocking with your boy, man. iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. It will be up shortly. Thank you to the Morgans, man, for coming on. We will get them back on again to talk some more about living more with the Morgans. Make sure you check out their broadcast live on Facebook at the top of the hour. With that being said, y'all take care of each other. Y'all hug each other. Y'all love each other. And we'll holler at y'all again real soon. Peace. We out.